Imagine waking up and discovering that the superpower you were born, the exact thing that legends say is meant to save the world, is actually the trigger that...
Right, it's a completely terrifying concept.
It really is. Like, imagine realizing the universe hasn't given you a gift at all. It's handed you this apocalyptic button, and everyone around you is just waiting for you to press.
You're completely stripping away the neat, comforting lines of a traditional hero's journey when you do that.
Exact. Good versus evil. We're looking at a landscape today where the designated savior is actively hunting a monster, and where peace isn't some great triumph, but this fragile, terrifying liability.
It is a fundamental inversion of the narrative architecture we're used to. I mean, when a story operates for decades on the premise that its protagonist is the ultimate arbiter of harmony.
Were you the ultimate good guy?
Exactly. Stripping that away doesn't just change the plot. It completely shatters the metaphor.
The audience is left without a moral compass.
Yes. Forced to navigate a setting where survival might actively require destruction.
Which brings us to the mission for today's deep dive. Welcome in, everyone. Today we are unpacking an exclusive, highly anticipated article from Paramount's official news source, Sneak Peek.
Published on April 13th, 2026.
Yep, by Yeun. And this piece lays out an unprecedented expansion of the beloved fantasy action Avatar.
It's a massive, massive shift for the franchise.
It really is. And for you listening at home, whether you're a lifelong fan who has, memorized all the martial arts forms of the four elements, or you're a complete newcomer just trying to understand the cultural zeitgeist before this takes over your social.
Which it absolutely will in late 2026.
Oh, 100%. But you are in the right place. We are building your ultimate...
And, the context surrounding this release is just as vital as the content itself. We aren't merely analyzing a 2026 release schedule here.
No, it's way bigger than just a studio capitalizing on familiar IP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What Kubitschek's article actually documents is the fascinating and honestly often painful process of a massive franchise deciding to grow up.
Yeah, it's evolving its narrative complexity to match an audience that has aged into a much more cynical, chaotic world.
A world that demands more from its fantasy.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the core premise of this sneak peek piece genuinely redefines the boundaries of anime. Kubitschek's article teases two major distinct reveals coming to Paramount+.
Two very different projects.
Right. First, a brand new animated film titled The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. This movie centers on Avatar Aang's desperate, morally ambiguous quest to save his culture from permanent extinction.
And then the second project.
Yeah, an entirely new, strikingly dark animated series called Avatar, Seven Haven. And in this series, the Avatar, the historical embodiment, is actively hunted as humanity's destroyer in post-cataclysmic ways.
So you have two parallel narratives functioning as thematic mirrors.
Ooh, I like that. Thematic mirrors.
Right, because one features a hero carrying the immense guilt of survival, risking global stability just to resurrect the past.
And the other?
The other features a new protagonist inheriting a corrupted legacy, forced to navigate a broken future where her very existence is viewed as an existential threat.
It's this dual exploration of legacy. One approaches it through preservation, and the other through annihilation.
Beautifully put.
Let's focus on the first major reveal. The return of Aang. So this upcoming animated film, The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, is set to premiere exclusively on Paramount Plus in the fall of 2026.
It's going to be a huge streaming event.
Yeun provides this very carefully worded synopsis in the article, and we need to dissect the actual text to understand.
The wording is everything.
It is. The article states, quote, "The film is about Avatar Aang, the world's last airbender, who learns of an ancient power that could save his culture from
Let me guess, there's a catch.
Oh, there's always a catch. It continues. With the help of his friends, he embarks on a global quest to find it before it falls into the wrong hands and upends the peace they sacrificed everything."
What's fascinating here is the linguistic choices in that synopsis. They are heavily, heavily loaded.
Yeah, break that.
Consider the phrase, upends the peace, they sacrificed everything. Historically, this franchise has treated peace as the ultimate.
Right. Aang's original journey was all about his reluctance to fight, leading up to his victory over a century-long imperialist war. The peace was the happy ending.
Exact. But this new text frames that victory as a fragile, ongoing burden. Aang is no longer just the triumphant hero.
He's a survivor.
Yes, a survivor of genocide who is actively suppressing his own cultural trauma just to maintain global stability.
Man, that tension is what makes this so relatable, even if, don't live in a... Let's look at the mechanics of Aang's dilemma.
It's not a simple fix.
No, it's not about finding a magic wand. For you listening, think of it like a controversial advancement in genetic and specifically like gene drive technology in our real world.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison.
Right. Imagine a scientist discovers a way to genetically alter a mosquito to completely eradicate a disease that wiped out their entire ancestral home.
It would be a miraculous discovery for them personally.
Exactly. But releasing that modified organism into the wild risks destabilizing the entire global food web, like potentially causing total ecological...
The ultimate double-edged sword.
Yeah. Okoyen is basically holding that metaphorical gene drive. He can save his dying culture, but using that ancient power risks triggering a global systemic collapse.
Which is a terrifying position to be in.
It is. Which leads me to ask, is he actually betraying his duty as the Avatar by pursuing this? I mean, if his job is global balance, isn't risking a world war to save a single culture inherently selfish?
I would actually argue the opposite, based on the foundational lore established in Kubitschek's text.
Really? How so?
Well, the universe requires 4 distinct elements: water, earth, fire, and air to maintain equilibrium. Aang is explicitly referred to as the world's last airbender.
Right, he's the only one left.
Which means the spiritual and physical equilibrium of the entire planet is hanging by a single thread.
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
From a systemic perspective, a world with only 3 elements fundamentally unbalanced. It is a table missing a leg.
So it's already broken.
Exactly. Therefore, his pursuit of this ancient power isn't a selfish deviation from his duty. It might be the most critical, terrifying mandate of his role as Avatar.
He has to risk the immediate political peace to restore the fundamental cosmological balance.
He has no other choice if he wants true balance.
But the text specifically highlights the cost. It says, with the help of his friend, he isn't carrying this burden.
No, he is actively pulling his allies into a massive moral hazard.
Yeah, these are people who, as the text, sacrificed everything. He's asking them to gamble their hard-won stability.
And the stakes of that gamble are explicitly laid out before it falls into the wrong hands.
Right. So, based strictly on the rules of this universe, where individuals manipulate the element, how does an ancient power capable of reversing extinction actually function?
Well, we have to examine the mechanics of bending as an extension of world.
Okay, walk us through that.
If an ancient power can restore an extinct culture, it must manipulate life force or spiritual energy on an unprecedented scale.
So it's not just moving rocks or throwing fire.
Exactly. If the power falls into the hands of an elemental supremacist, someone who believes their specific element should conquer the others, they wouldn't just use it to build armies. They could theoretically use it to rewrite the metaphysical makeup of populations. They could erase other bending disciplines entirely.
Wow. So the wrong hands wouldn't just start a war.
No, they would initiate a forced planetary homogenization. Aang is racing to prevent someone else from obtaining the power to play God.
It's the ultimate arms race. But instead of nuclear weapons, the payload is cultural erasure or creation.
It is an astonishingly heavy thematic load for an animated feature.
It really is. And Paramount Plus clearly knows exactly how ambitious this narrative is, which becomes glaringly obvious when we look at the cast Kubitschek unveiled.
The cast list is unprecedented.
We are not looking at a standard voiceover roster here. We are looking at a statement of intent.
The casting strategy outlined in the article represents a massive paradigm shift in how prestige animation is being positioned within the streaming ecosystem.
Let me just read through a few of these names, because the variety is staggering. Okay, the cast includes Taika Waititi, Geraldine Viswanathan, D. Bradley Baker, Freda Pinto, Ki Hui Kwan.
Incredible lineup so far.
And it keeps going. Dave Bautista, Eric Nom, Jessica Matten, Dion Kwan, Roman Zaragoza, and Stephen Yeun.
It's an unbelievable aggregation of talent.
Right. We have stand-up comedians, martial artists, Academy Award winners, and traditional voiceover legends all sharing the same booth.
Let us analyze the specific skill sets these actors bring, because voice acting in an action fantasy context requires a unique physical translation.
Yeah, it's not just reading lines into a mic.
Not at all. Take Dave Bautista. In live action, his performances are defined by massive, imposing physicality juxtaposed with a deep, often tragic internal quietness.
Yeah, he's great at that silent giant energy.
Right. But in a universe where characters manipulate earth and fire through martial art, projecting that sense of physical weight and disciplined power solely through vocal cords is exceptionally difficult.
That's a really good point. You can't rely on your facial expressions.
Or consider Stephen Yeun. His recent dramatic work relies heavily on micro-expression, the subtle tightening of a jaw, a hollow gaze.
How do you translate that to animation?
Translating that profound, brooding complexity into a vocal performance requires a director and an animator working in absolute lockstep with the actor's vocal cadence.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I see your point about their dramatic chops, but I have to push back on the
Okay, push.
When you assemble a cast this famous, doesn't it fundamentally threaten the immersion for you as...
How do you...
Like, when I am watching a sprawling fantasy epic about spiritual balance and elemental magic, and suddenly a character opens their mouth, and the very distinct, highly recognizable comedic cadence of Taika Waititi...
You're taken out of it.
Yes. I'm no longer in the Earth Kingdom. I'm just picturing Taika Waititi standing in a sound soundproof room wearing a headset.
Right. The illusion is broken.
Exactly. Has animation moved past the point where celebrity stunt casting distracts from the art, or is Paramount Plus just buying expensive?
That is a legitimate structural concern, often referred to as the celebrity overshadow.
Right, where the actor is bigger than the character?
Yes.
Yeah.
However, I disagree that this specific roster represents superficial stunt cast.
Okay, why?
If we look at the trajectory of modern animation, audiences have grown sophisticated enough to hold two concepts simultaneously, recognizing the performer while investing in the avatar.
So we can separate the two in our minds now.
Precisely. Furthermore, actors like Waititi or Viswanathan possess a specific rhythmic agility. They understand how to manipulate timing.
Oh, I see. So it's about their technical skill.
Exactly. In an animated film dealing with heavy themes of genocide and systemic collapse, finding pockets of levity that feel organic rather than forced is crucial.
You need that comic relief so it isn't just relentlessly grim.
Right. Their distinct comedic timing prevents the narrative from collapsing under its own philosophical weight.
Okay, that's an interesting defense. You're saying their distinctiveness is the tool, not the distraction.
It's an asset to the storytelling.
And for you, the listener, understanding this casting strategy is vital for your media literacy in 2026. This isn't just Hollywood trivia.
No, it's a deliberate market position.
When a streaming service like Paramount Plus secures Steven Yeun and Ki Hui Kwan for an animated feature, they are loudly signaling that this is a four-quadrant cinematic event.
They want everyone watching.
Even if you have never seen a single frame of the original Avatar, the gravity of this cast ensures that the Legend of Aang dominant cultural conversation.
It absolutely will be the water cooler topic.
You are going to want to understand the mechanics of this world simply because of the art pedigree attached to it.
The studio is utilizing the cast to demand attention, establishing the film as a prestige entry point.
Getting everyone in the door.
Yes, this strategy is essential because they need the maximum possible audience engagement before they introduce the second, far more alienating project detailed in Kubitschek's article.
Alienating is the perfect word for it. Let's pivot to the most shocking revelation.
This is where things get truly dark.
We are leaving the era of Aang's fragile piece and transitioning to a completely new animated series, Avatar, Seven Havens.
A total departure from what we know.
The article structures this project as a book 1 and a book 2, with 13 episodes each. But the premise is what completely shatters the established order.
It really does.
The text states that Seven Havens is set post-Korra, taking place in, quote, a world torn apart by a devastating cataclysm.
We need to define post-Korra for the listener to fully grasp the magnitude of this setting.
Yeah, give us the context there.
In the universe's timeline, the era of Korra represented a massive leap into industrialization.
It wasn't just ancient villages anymore.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We are talking about a society that had developed metropolitan cities, automobiles, radio, and mechanized weapons, all integrated with the magic system of bending.
Exactly. It was a world of roaring 20s aesthetics combined with spiritual energy. They weren't riding around on horseback anymore.
Right.
They were building skyscrapers and using elemental magic to power electrical grids. The integration between humanity, technology, and magic was at an all-time high.
Precisely. Therefore, when Kubitschek's article describes a devastating cataclysm that tears this specific world apart, we are not conceptualizing a mere drought or a political uprising.
This isn't just a bad year for crops.
No, the collapse of an industrialized, magic-dependent society implies a catastrophic failure of the systems that hold reality together.
So everything just stops working?
If the spirits and the technology that powered the cities suddenly went rogue or vanished, the infrastructure would instantly crumble.
Wow.
The population wouldn't just be displaced, they would be violently thrown back into a dark age.
It's like a massive global EMP, right? But instead of just wiping out our laptops and power grids, it also scrambles the laws of physics.
That is a perfect analogy.
And into this smoking crater of a world steps our new protagonist.
The new Avatar.
Right. The article outlines that a young Earthbender discovers she is the new Avatar. But unlike every Avatar before her, whose job was to maintain harmony, the text explicitly states that the title marks her as humanity destroyer as opposed to fear.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the narrative inversion we discussed earlier.
It's totally upside down.
The core mythology of the franchise dictates that the Avatar is a continuous cycle of reincarnation, hosting a singular ancient spirit of light and peace.
The ultimate force for good.
Yes. So, if the new Avatar is universally recognized as humanity's destroyer, it forces a terrifying hypothesis.
Which is?
The cataclysm didn't just break the city, it corrupted the Avatar spirit itself.
Man, I want to ground the psychological horror for listening. Think about your body's immune system.
Okay, let's hear it.
Its sole biological purpose is to protect you from infection, right? to maintain the harmony of your internal organs.
That's its job.
Now imagine developing a severe autoimmune. The very system designed to save your life suddenly misidentifies your healthy cells as the enemy and begins systematically destroying your organs.
It attacks.
The Avatar is supposed to be the planet's immune system. In Seven Havens, the world has developed an autoimmune crisis. The Protector has mutated into the pathogen.
That immunological analogy perfectly illustrates the internal and external conflict here.
The psychological toll on the must fathom. She wakes up, realizes she possesses the ultimate power, and immediately discovers that everyone looking at her terminal diagnosis.
She is burdened with a biological imperative to act, but every action she takes is interpreted as a symptom of the world's disease.
She can't win.
And the article provides a crucial detail that exacerbates this isolation. She is an earthbender.
Why does that specific element matter so much?
The mechanics of earthbending are rooted in a philosophy called neutral jing. It's the art of listening, waiting, and standing firm.
Okay.
It is the element of building foundations. How does an individual whose elemental nature is designed to build and fortify reconcile with a destiny that demands destruction?
Oh, wow. It's a complete paradox. She's trying to build a foundation while the universe is handing her a sledgehammer.
Precisely.
And she isn't doing this in a bustling metropolis. The article gives us very specific, desperate plot.
The setting is incredibly bleak.
It notes that she and her long-lost twin must uncover their mysterious origins while being hunted by both human and spirit enemies.
There's so much to unpack there.
And they have a ticking clock. They must save the, quote, Seven Havens before civilization's last strong collapse.
This raises an important question. The inclusion of a long-lost twin introduces a massive cosmological anomaly.
Because there's only supposed to be one avatar.
Exactly. We have established that the avatar spirit is a singular entity reincarnating into one body at a time to serve as the singular bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds.
So a twin shouldn't exist.
The existence of a twin fundamentally breaks this rule.
Let's theorize on the mechanics of that break. If the cataclysm shattered the world, could it have physically fractured the reincarnation cycle?
It's highly probable.
Think of the avatar spirit like a computer's operating system. It is designed to run on a single core processor, one human body.
Following the analogy, yes.
If the cataclysm caused a metaphysical short circuit, forcing that single core operating system to suddenly try and run on a dual core process, the twins, the system would constantly crash.
You're sharing a spiritual band meant for one person.
Exactly.
That is a highly plausible interpretation of the mechanic. If the spirit is split, the power and the burden are violently divided.
Which would make her incredibly dangerous.
This could explain why she is viewed as a destroyer. Perhaps an avatar requires the total synthesis of the four elements within one vessel to maintain balance.
So if she only has half...
If a twin possesses half of that spiritual essence, any bending they attempt would be inherently unbalanced, erratic, and destructive.
That makes total sense. Furthermore, the text states they are hunted by both human and spirit enemies.
This is critical.
Why? Human factions hunting the avatar for political gain is pretty common in the lore, isn't it?
It is, but spirits are the manifestations of nature and cosmic order.
Oh!
If the spirits are hunting her, it validates the world's fear. The cosmos itself is trying to eradicate her like a virus.
So the isolation is even nature wants her dead.
Yes.
And look at what they're trying to protect. Seven Havens. These are described as civilization's last stronghold.
The language is so deliberate.
Havens, strongholds, collapse. It paints a picture of profound desperation. We aren't dealing with global politics anymore.
No, we're dealing with extinction-level resource scarcity.
A stronghold isn't a place of culture or art. It's a bunker.
And returning to her origin as an earthbender, her specific elemental ability is the only thing keeping those bunkers intact.
Because earthbenders manipulate stone and metal.
The very earth beneath their feet. In a post-cataclysmic scenario where infrastructure is devastated, an earthbender is the ultimate architect of survival.
She can literally raise walls against the encroaching threats.
This creates a profound tragedy. The only person capable of fortifying the last remnants of humanity is the person humanity is actively trying to kill.
Man, it's a completely suffocating narrative environment, which makes me step back and look at the broader picture Kubitschek's article.
We have to look at the context.
Let's talk about the 2026 Paramount Plus streaming ecosystem, because the sidebars and the top peaks surrounding this Avatar news are incredibly revealing about what audiences actually want.
Media consumption does not happen in a vacuum.
No, it never does.
It is a direct reflection of societal psychology. The contextual metadata in Kubitschek's article provides a clear diagnostic of the 2026 viewer.
Right. If you look at what else Paramount Plus is heavily promoting alongside The Legend of Aang and Seven Havens, it's a very specific lineup.
What else is on the slate?
We have Survivor 50, a monumental anniversary of a grueling reality comedy. We have Dexter, Resurrection Season 2, reviving a show about a serial killer.
Very dark.
We have Criminal Minds, Evolution entering its mind-boggling 19th season. And perhaps most tellingly, there is a featured 90s kid binge-watch guide alongside extensive chronological viewing charts for the classic Star Trek universe.
When you aggregate these properties, the strategy is undeniable.
What are they doing?
Paramount Plus has built a curated ecosystem reliant almost entirely on legacy, intellectual property, and nostalgia.
But it's not just normal nostalgia.
No, it is a very specific strain of nostalgia.
Yeah.
They are targeting the millennial and Gen Z demographics audiences who consumed the original iterations of these shows during a period of their youth they retroactively perceive as stable.
Right. So what does this all mean? Because you listening might look at this lineup and think, wow, Hollywood is out of ideas.
That's the surface level read.
But it's actually much deeper than that. Psychologists refer to a concept we can call traumatized nostalgia.
Traumatized nostalgia, that's a powerful term.
The audiences who grew up on the bright, clear-cut adventures of Aang are now adults in the late 2020s. They have lived through massive economic instability, global pandemics, and the rapid erosion of institutional trust.
They are exhausted.
They are totally exhausted.
Precisely. They desire the comfort of familiar characters and established lore, but their worldview has fundamentally shifted.
A simple, clean victory doesn't work anymore.
No, where the hero defeats the villain with a moral absolute. It no longer resonates. It feels condescending.
Yeah, it feels fake.
They require their childhood media to reflect the complexity and the pessimism of their adult reality.
It's a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
We are projecting our current societal dread onto our childhood comfort blanket so we can process our trauma in a safe, fictional environment.
It's catharsis.
We want Aang back, absolutely. But we need Aang to be just as traumatized, just as burdened by impossible ethical dilemmas as we feel we are.
And with Seven Havens.
We want the Avatar universe, but we want a post-cataclysmic version where the systems are broken because our systems feel broken.
We want the nostalgia of the setting, but the anxiety of the present.
Exactly.
It is a brilliant, albeit bleak, corporate strategy.
Yeah.
Paramount Plus recognizes that the audience doesn't want to escape reality. They want a fantasy that validates their reality.
Validates the reality, wow.
The Legend of Aang validates the guilt of survival and the crushing weight of maintaining a fragile status quo.
And Seven Havens.
Seven Havens validates the fear of inheriting a broken world where traditional solutions no longer apply and where you might be blamed for the collapse you're actually trying to survive.
It's media acting as a mirror. And the reflection is staggering. We started this deep dive talking about how the clean, predictable lines of a classic hero's journey have been erased in this new era of storytelling.
They are completely gone.
And over the last hour or so, we've unpacked exactly how Paramount Plus and the creators of the Avatar universe are executing that erasure.
We have analyzed two vastly different approaches to a maturing franchise.
Right. On one side, we dissected Aang's cinematic return. We explored the heavy, almost impossible geopolitical mechanics of a hero using an ancient, volatile power to reverse the extinction of his people.
Risking the very global peace he fought a war to achieve.
Yeah, we looked at how a powerhouse, star-studded cast is being deployed not just for marketing, but to elevate the emotional and physical weight of anime.
And on the opposing side, we examined the terrifying narrative inversion of Seven Havens.
That one still gives me chills.
We broke down the cosmological implications of an Earthbender Avatar and her twin, attempting to fortify the last strongholds of humanity.
Navigating a post-industrial cataclysm.
Where the immune system of the world is mutated and the ultimate arbiter of peace is hunted as the agent of the apocalypse.
It is a massive, incredibly dense expansion. And as we wrap up our analysis of Yeun Kubitschek's Sneak, I want to pose one final, lingering thought based purely on the mechanics of the world.
I'll leave you with this. If the fundamental cosmological purpose of the Avatar is to maintain harmony in the world, we must ask what harmony actually looks like when a system is terminally corrupted.
Right, if the foundation's already gone.
If the Society of Seven Havens is built upon the ruins of a devastating cataclysm, operating on fractured spiritual and physical rules, perhaps preserving those last strongholds is actually preserving the disease. In a world that is fundamentally, systemically broken beyond repair, is it possible that the Avatar's true duty isn't to save it?
Then what is it?
In a broken world, is the ultimate savior required by necessity to be the destroyer who finally sweeps away the ashes so a new equilibrium can be born.
Man, that is the kind of profound, unsettling question that ensures a franchise survives for decades. If the system is poisoned, maybe the only cure is to burn it down.
It's something to think about.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the evolving Avatar universe.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
We hope this analysis has equipped you with the context you need going into late 2026, and we encourage you to keep questioning the architecture of the stories you consume.
Absolutely.
Look for the complex, often terrifying mechanics operating just beneath the surface of your favorite media, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.